Hey there, Hope Community Church. I'm here with some friends and ministry partners of ours, Chase and Gwen Paul, and we're going to spend a few minutes with them just kind of catching up and hearing what's been going on in their lives over the past 6 to 8 months. So why don't we start with you, Chase? Just tell us a little bit about who you are, your family, and maybe what it is that you do.
Well, I'm Chase, and my wife, Gwen. We're the Pauls. We have 4 kids: Chance, Emerson, Devin, and Brinley. You may have seen some of their pictures throughout the church. They're with us. Currently, we are in 2 different areas because, well, we're in 2 different states. I'm in North Carolina, and Gwen's in Pennsylvania.
And we'll explain a little bit more about that as we continue in our conversation as to why you're in North Carolina and Gwen is at your home in PA. But hey, how about we do this, Gwen? Why don't you tell us, just give us a synopsis of your journey over the past couple of years, maybe quickly over the past 2 years, but then slow down a little bit. What's been going on over the past 6 to 8 months?
Okay. About 3 years ago, Chase and I and our family joined Mission Aviation Fellowship to be missionaries in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Part of that process was support raising as well as language learning before we could get to our final field destination. And that's where we've been for the last 3 years. Hope has been just an amazing partner coming alongside our ministry. Hope Community Church has been our sending church and has always supported us and encouraged us throughout this journey. We just returned in the new year to Pennsylvania from Uganda. I don't know, what else should I say, Kirk?
There's a story there, isn't there? You returned back to the States in October. If you're comfortable, just share maybe just briefly some of the big bullet point reasons for why you ended up returning.
Sure. Last summer, we just wrapped up our language training in France. We arrived in Congo, our field destination, in July of this last summer. We were sort of warned early before our arrival that there was some violence and different things going on there. So we did know going into it that it was going to be a difficult assignment. And also Ebola has been going on there for quite some time. So we knew it was a risk, but we also felt like God was calling us to that, and we had prepared for 3 years for that arrival. So we arrived there in July. Unfortunately, shortly after our arrival, about 4 weeks into our time there, a village nearby experienced an attack and kidnapping and violence. At that point, our superiors were investigating that and decided to evacuate the base and the missionaries due to violence being kind of within their radius of our area. So at that time, we evacuated to Uganda. We were in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo. So Uganda was the nearest country. So our family evacuated to Uganda in September. So fortunately, we were able to pack up our belongings, and it wasn't under great duress. It was, sort of planned after that attack took place. So yeah, September, we began our time in Uganda. But we didn't have a lot of direction at that point. Upon our arrival in Uganda, there is no US-based missionaries really in Uganda. So kind of a different world. We were a little bit on our own in that sense. But we are working with our leadership to kind of see what this change meant for us and for our mission. The following month after this evacuation, MAF kind of decided to change their focus. Backing up, MAF stands for Mission Aviation Fellowship. We came out to be IT missionaries. Chase does computer stuff and was setting up Wi-Fi and internet for the hospitals and schools and Bible translators that are out in these small villages. So moving to Uganda kind of changed that because we were in a capital city. What does that look like for us as far as what they wanted us to do? So in October, we're not the only people, with this organization. There's other IT missionary families, but certainly 90% of the mission is aviation based. And we had recently got a new president at Mission Aviation Fellowship, and some changes have been being made and were coming during this time of our arrival in Congo and Uganda. Long story short, the board of MAF decided in October to change their focus from doing any IT work really at all outside of what they needed for themselves to solely aviation as their main focus.
And so that basically then meant that Chase, the role that he had in business terms been hired to do, was now it was cut. It was no longer part of the business plan, and so that was a big factor for having you then leave to come back to the U.S.
Yes, that was that was the main reason, honestly. Shortly thereafter, someone in our family also got pretty ill that required medical attention in the U.S. So kind of all these doors closed at the same time. The evacuation, the change within our organization, and then a health issue. So it was just a lot of closed doors and a lot of broken hearts and grief on our part for, this big dream and vision that we thought God, that we know God had for us. And it's just hard to live through that. So.
And so the months of November and December, you guys were in Wisconsin, and then in January made your migration out to PA, and you've been here in PA. Chase, you had picked up an odd job working for FedEx, packing those trucks, and then looking for employment. Your intent was to stay here in PA. You put out multiple applications and tried multiple interviews, all kinds of stuff. But why don't you just share how it is that you've ended up in North Carolina and what it is that you are now doing in North Carolina?
So yes, beginning of the year, I was working with FedEx and we were just moving packages. During that time, I was actively pursuing work within Pennsylvania, and I think in one day I got 5 no's or 5 declined opportunities. And what I didn't really realize was that throughout this entire process, an organization based out of Boone, North Carolina, Samaritan's Purse, had been prayerfully considering me for a position as an international communications technician, disaster response. And what that really means is that I would be part of a team that helps provide the technology for communications, whether that be internet communications or even simple radios, walkie-talkies type applications for the disaster response teams as well as the emergency medical hospital. The exact same one that was in the middle of Central Park as well as the one in Italy. So.
Wow. So you were then, they pursued you and then ultimately ended up offering you this position. So you're an employee now of Samaritan's Purse. Your role has shifted from being missionaries, raising support, to being an employee of an organization, doing similar kinds of things. You're out of the country. Would you talk briefly about that? How your role will take you out of the country?
Yes. So yes, I am now an employee of Samaritan's Purse, and it does entail travel. I will be deployed to international contexts using the French language that I learned, as well as some of the other gifts and tools that the Lord has blessed us with. Yeah.
Cool. And you started the job back, 4 weeks ago? Is that about right, if I remember correctly?
So the family and I, we came down here kind of like, a day or two before Easter, and we celebrated Easter together here in Boone, North Carolina. And my first day was, April 13th?
Yeah, the Monday after Easter.
Yeah, so we've been, Gwen came down the first time, and then I've been heading back north each sequential time on the weekends so we could hang out together.
Wow. So that's a lot of driving.
It's a good commute.
It's short.
So you guys have been fortunate enough to sell your home pretty quickly. Yep. And to be able to find a home pretty quickly as well. And I think you have target dates for closing on both of those sometime the end of this month. Is that correct? Beginning of June, something like that?
Yeah, so we are closing on our North Carolina home. What is that, the 18th of May?
Hopefully next week sometime, but they're willing to give us like a pre-occupancy so we can reunite sooner than our closing here. So that's been nice.
And closing here will be?
And the closing in Pennsylvania would be the end of the month, beginning of June.
Yeah.
Okay. So pretty soon you guys are going to be reunited in North Carolina. We'll still be practicing social distancing, online worship services, and we're not going to be able to give you a hug and shake your hands and high five and say goodbye to you. I mean, it's going to be a weird experience. And thus why, I really thought this was important for us to do this interview like this so that our congregation is informed. I know you are informing through other means, but to at least have people see your faces.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. You guys have lived through a lot over the past 3 years. It's been an amazing journey. Definitely with lots of downs more than ups, lots of challenges to it, lots of questions as to why, not a lot of clear answers, how it is that God works. It's not always clear. He doesn't always tell us why he does what he does. But it sure seems as though God had a plan in store, and has you using your gifts still on mission. Samaritan's Purse, hey, we send Operation Christmas Child boxes every December, and that's a Samaritan's Purse operation there. So you guys are associated with another ministry that we support as a church. So
absolutely.
Well, Chase and Gwen, it's been good to talk with you and get this update. I know that you'll continue to stay in touch, and I believe you know that we love you guys tremendously, and you guys will be missed. I was so excited to know that you were coming back, and not happy that you were coming back, but I was happy that you were coming back. And then you're leaving before you really even get back. And so, anyways, you guys will be greatly missed.
Yeah. We'll be back again. We can't just leave without actually giving hugs and goodbyes. So 7-hour drive. So, that's short compared to the big ocean and, 40 some hours of flying. So we're considering it a neighboring area.
Well, not to mention, I mean, we are only 7 hours away, doorstep to doorstep, but we do have plenty of space at our North Carolina property to host. So just bring a tent or a camper or something.
Yeah, everyone's
set you-
welcome for a visit.
Fantastic. All right, you guys, we love you, and we will be in touch. Let me
Thank
pray
you.
for you. God,
Thank
I
you.
thank you for this time to catch up with Gwen and Chase, and we thank you for where they're at right now, for providing for their needs. We thank you for all the things that you've been doing to bring healing, and we ask that that would continue to happen. Bless them in this transition, and it's in your name, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank
Great
you.
to talk to you guys.
You too. Thank you.
You too, Pastor Kirk.